everything is okay. But eventually truth knocks. And when it does, nothing stays the same. This is one of those stories. Welcome to the channel. If you love deep, emotional, faith-rooted stories that speak to the soul, you're in the right place. Settle in. Let's dive right into today's story. The morning light filtered softly through the blinds, painting stripes of gold across the bedroom floor. I stirred awake, my hair tangled, my heart fluttering with quiet hope. Today wasn't my birthday yet, but the air felt heavier than usual. There was an unspoken tension between us that I had tried to ignore for weeks. Marcus was in the kitchen, hunched over his laptop with his tie half loosened, hair still damp from a rushed shower. He barely looked up as I padded across the room in my slippers. Maybe this year will be different, I whispered to myself. I poured coffee, inhaled its bitter warmth, and watched him scroll through emails like he was searching for answers he didn't know how to find. There was something missing in the way he moved, the way he looked at me. A distance I couldn't quite name. I thought back to last year's birthday. The balloons left in the hallway untouched, and the silence that followed. My heart still ached at the memory. I tried to shake the thought. I wanted to believe in hope, in him, in us. I moved to make the bed, straighten the kitchen, anything to distract myself from the gnawing worry. But the worry lingered. When I glanced toward him again, he barely acknowledged me, tapping on his laptop, mumbling numbers under his breath. I caught a glimpse of something I hadn't wanted to see. Work had taken him over entirely. I want him to see me, I thought, hugging myself for comfort. I want him to notice me before it's too late. I sipped my coffee, telling myself this day would be different. Little did I know, the quiet tension in our home that morning was only the calm before the storm. I left the room briefly and returned to find his briefcase still open, papers spilling slightly. Something in me shivered. I had a feeling that today, nothing would be as simple as I hoped. Sunlight spilled through the half-open blinds, painting golden stripes across our bedroom floor. I stretched lazily, letting the warmth sink into my skin. Today was my birthday, and for once I wanted it to feel magical. Not extravagant, just noticed, celebrated, loved. I slipped out of bed quietly, careful not to wake Marcus. The house was still, the kind of quiet that makes your heart beat a little louder, listening for the familiar creak of his footsteps. I wandered into the kitchen, still barefoot, hair messy from sleep. Steam rose from the coffee maker, carrying the comforting smell of morning. I poured myself a cup, savoring the warmth. A small smile tugged at my lips as I imagined Marcus coming in, wrapping his arms around me, maybe planting a kiss on my forehead and whispering, "Happy birthday, my love." But the house remained still. Too still. Then I heard the soft thud of shoes by the door. "Busy day. Love you," Marcus called, already halfway out the door. I blinked. My mug paused midair. "Wait, what?" I whispered to myself. I turned, but he was already gone, briefcase in hand, his jacket flapping as he hurried down the driveway. No kiss. No hug. No happy birthday. My chest tightened. My stomach sank. I wanted to shout, to chase him down the street, to demand to be seen. But all that came out was a quiet, bitter laugh. Well, happy birthday to me. I sat on the edge of the couch, cradling my coffee like a fragile shield. The day I'd hoped would be filled with laughter and warmth was beginning with absence and silence. And then something caught my eye. A small, glossy bag in the back seat of Marcus's car. I froze. My pulse quickened. My breath hitched. A gift? For me? After all this? I wanted to rush out, grab it, tear open the wrapping and feel his thoughtfulness. My hand shook slightly as I imagined it. Maybe a necklace, a bracelet, something personal, something that said, "I remembered you, I love you." I lingered, staring at the bag, heart pounding. And somewhere deep down I felt the first flicker of hope. But the question lingered like a shadow. Why did he leave it in the car instead of giving it to me himself? I sat there alone, coffee cooling in my hands, staring at the gift, wondering if this birthday would finally be everything I dreamed of. Or just another day of heartbreak waiting to happen. My eyes lingered on the gift bag in his car, heart hammering. What if it wasn't for me? What if it was too late? I must have stood by the window for a full minute, staring at that gift bag like it was a secret waiting to swallow me whole. Curiosity tugged at me, gentle at first, then violently. I grabbed my sweater and headed outside, the morning air brushing against my bare arms. Marcus's car door clicked open under my shaking hand. The scent of his cologne clung to the seats, and for a moment it made my throat tighten. We used to share moments in this car, laughing, talking, planning. Today it felt like foreign territory. The bag was small, elegant, carefully packaged. My heart fluttered as I lifted it. Maybe he's planning something later. Maybe he didn't forget. Maybe this is his surprise. My hope rose, reckless, fragile. I opened the bag, pulled out a jewelry box, clicked it open, and just like that my hope shattered. It wasn't my style. Not even close. A chunky gold necklace, bold and loud. Exactly the opposite of the delicate, subtle jewelry I always wore. Marcus knew me. Or at least I thought he did. Confusion prickled my skin. Why would he buy this for me? I whispered. Then I saw the envelope at the bottom. A card. My stomach clenched. I opened it slowly, as if delaying the inevitable would soften the blow. Inside, a handwritten message. To someone who deserves all the best. Marcus. But the name at the top? Not mine. A woman's name stared back at me. Bold. Clear. Undeniable. It felt like the ground shifted beneath me. My legs weakened. The air turned sharp and cold. My mind spiraled instantly. A woman. A gift. A personal message. His recent distance. His forgetfulness. His rush this morning. I felt my breath quicken. I grabbed the car door for support. The world suddenly felt too loud, too bright, too cruel. No, I whispered. No, no, no. This can't be happening. My phone buzzed violently in my hand, startling me. Theo. Marcus's co-worker. Honest to a fault. Maybe he knew something. I answered with a shaky hello. Theo's voice came through, gentle, almost concerned. Ella? You okay? You sound weird. I swallowed hard, choking on the truth. Theo. I found a gift. In Marcus's car. And it's not for me. A long pause. Too long. Then Theo sighed. Ella, listen. Marcus has been drowning at work. Projects, deadlines, pressure from the top. He isn't himself. I wiped a tear that had escaped. So there is something? No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's overwhelmed. Stressed people do stupid things. Forgetful things. But an affair? That's not Marcus. His certainty was a shaky comfort. But Jade's voice was louder in my mind. By afternoon, she was sitting across from me in my living room, watching me with the fierce protectiveness only a sister could possess. So you think he bought jewelry? Jade said slowly, voice growing sharper. Wrote a personal message for another woman on your birthday? I buried my face in my hands. I don't know what to think anymore. She took the card gently, studying it. Ella. What if the gift is for you? I looked up quickly, eyes swollen from crying. But the name. Maybe it's a nickname. Maybe it's a coworker helping him order something and he put the wrong card inside. Maybe it's nothing. Her theories hung in the air, hopeful but fragile. Or, she said softly, maybe it's exactly what it looks like. Her words struck the air like lightning, and in the silence that followed, I felt the cold truth settle in my chest. I didn't know. And not knowing was its own kind of torture. Jade's words echoed in my mind long after she left. Ella, what if the gift I asked for you? But the name on the card kept whispering otherwise. The rest of the day blurred into a haze of overthinking, staring at the necklace, pacing the living room, rereading the card, and trying not to drown in my own imagination. Every time my phone buzzed, I jumped. Every time a car passed outside, my heart twisted. By late afternoon, I was exhausted from feeling everything and still ending up with nothing but questions. Then a memory flickered. Marcus and I years ago, sitting across from each other at a tiny Italian restaurant on our first date. Candlelight. Nervous laughter. His hand brushing mine. The way he watched me like I was the only person in the world. Maybe I could rewrite today. Maybe I could still salvage something from this wreckage. I stared at the dress in my closet. Soft lavender. His favorite on me. Before I could talk myself out of it, I showered, curled my hair, and slipped into the dress. The woman staring back at me in the mirror looked fragile but determined. I texted Marcus. Dinner tonight? Our restaurant. A moment later, his reply vibrated through me. Running late. Don't wait. My throat tightened. But I still grabbed my keys. I still went. Because part of me believed he would show. Part of me wanted him to. Part of me needed him to choose me. The restaurant was warm and glowing with soft lights. A violinist played near the window. Couples laughed softly over pasta and wine. The hostess smiled. Table for two? I swallowed. Actually, one. Her smile flickered, but she led me to a corner table. Our corner table. The candle flickered, casting a lonely halo across the tablecloth. As minutes passed, I kept glancing toward the door, imagining him rushing in, apologizing, sweeping me into a hug, telling me everything was okay. But the seconds turned into minutes, and the minutes dragged into an hour. My food arrived. A plate of pasta I barely tasted. Wine I sipped slowly to keep the tears away. Couples around me whispered and smiled. I tried to straighten my back, keep my dignity, pretend I didn't feel abandoned at my own birthday dinner. But the truth seeped under my skin like cold rain. Marcus wasn't coming. By the time I paid the bill and stood up, I felt hollow. Like someone had opened my chest and quietly taken something vital without asking. I walked outside, the night air cool against my flushed cheeks. My heels clicked softly against the pavement as I made my way to my car. The streetlights blurred with my tears. As I drove home, headlights slicing through the darkness, my thoughts spiraled so fast I barely noticed the familiar shape of my house until I pulled onto the street. Then my breath caught. My hands tightened on the steering wheel. There he was. Marcus, standing on the porch. Under the dim porch light. His shoulders slumped. Head bent. And in his hand, the same gift bag. The one with the card. The jewelry. The woman's name. My stomach dropped as a chill swept through me. The night, the loneliness, the confusion. It all sharpened into one terrifying question. What is he doing with that bag? And who is it really meant for? Marcus looked up as my car rolled to a stop, the gift bag still dangling from his fingers, and the guilt written all over his face. The porch light flickered, casting long shadows across Marcus's face. As I stepped out of the car, the cool night air wrapped around me, sharp and sobering, grounding me just enough to keep from collapsing. He turned slowly, like he'd been caught doing something he wasn't ready to admit. His eyes were wide, nervous, searching, guilty. And there in his right hand was the gift bag. That same gift bag. The one that had tortured me all day. I shut the car door softly, the sound echoing through the stillness. Ella, he said, voice cracking slightly. He swallowed hard, chest rising and falling too fast. I didn't answer. I just stood there on the edge of the driveway, arms wrapped tightly around myself. A mix of anger and heartbreak tangled inside my chest like barbed wire. He stepped forward cautiously. I can explain. My laugh broke out before I could stop it, dry, shaky, bitter. Explain what, Marcus? That you forgot my birthday? That you left me here alone? Or that I had to sit at our restaurant tonight like a placeholder waiting for a man who never showed up? He flinched. The words hit him. But not enough. He lifted the bag a little. This wasn't what you think. Oh. My voice sharpened. Really? 'Cause the jewelry didn't look like mine. And the name on the card definitely wasn't mine. He looked down at the gift like he was seeing it for the first time. It's for a retirement party at work, he muttered. For a woman who's been with the company for 30 years. I forgot to put the right card in it. For a moment the world blurred. Relief? Anger? Confusion? All of it crashed into me at once, leaving me unsteady. A retirement gift? I whispered, stepping closer. That's what made you rush out? That's what had you distracted? That's what mattered more than saying happy birthday? He shut his eyes. His voice small. I should have said it. I know. No, I whispered. You didn't even think it. He opened his eyes then. Full of guilt, frustration, something like shame. Ella, I had a long day. I've had a long month. Everything at work is. Don't, I snapped, stepping back. Don't tell me about work right now. Not when you can't even look at me and say the words. What words? He asked, baffled, as if the very idea of what he'd forgotten hadn't even crossed his mind. That hurt more than anything. Not the gift. Not the dinner. Not the missed celebration. But the blankness in his eyes. The emptiness. The way he didn't even realize what today was supposed to mean. You really don't know? I whispered. Tears burned behind my eyes. He stared at me, confusion growing. Ella, what are you talking about? That was the moment I felt something inside me snap. Are you, Marcus? Are you seriously still not remembering? His silence answered everything. He didn't know. He truly didn't know. Even now, standing in front of me. Even after the dinner I told him about. Even after the dress I wore. Even after the messages. He still hadn't said it. Not once. I wrapped my arms tighter around myself, fighting the collapse building inside my chest. He finally whispered, Ella, what's wrong? And the pain of that question nearly brought me to my knees. Even now, standing 3 feet away, staring directly into his wife's tear-filled eyes, Marcus had still not said happy birthday. For a moment the world felt silent, too silent. Like everything around us paused, waiting for me to shatter. He stood there, shifting uncomfortably, still clutching that ridiculous gift bag like it held the answers. But the real answer, the real wound was already carved into my heart. I inhaled, slow and trembling. Marcus, I whispered. Today is my birthday. He froze. His eyebrows lifted, just slightly, like the thought had never even brushed his mind. Then the realization hit him. I watched it wash over his face in slow motion. Oh! He blinked rapidly. Ella, I'm sorry, and that was it. The thin string holding me together snapped. Sorry. I laughed, but it came out broken, jagged, painful. That's all you have to say? After everything today? After this entire year? He opened his mouth to speak, but the dam inside me burst. Do you know what it feels like to wait for someone who doesn't see you? To love someone who floats through life expecting you to understand everything, while giving you nothing in return. His mouth fell slightly open. He wasn't used to this version of me, unfiltered, unhidden, undone. I sat at our restaurant tonight, I said, voice shaking. The place where we had our first date. I waited. I ordered food I couldn't even taste. I watched couples laugh and hold hands while I sat alone on my birthday. His eyes softened, guilt maybe. But it wasn't enough. Not tonight. Ella, he tried again. No, don't. I lifted a hand. Telling me you're stressed isn't enough. Telling me work is hard isn't enough. Life is hard for everyone. But you've stopped trying. He rubbed the back of his neck, that old nervous habit. I'm doing the best I can, he muttered. No, I said, my voice dropping to a whisper that cut deeper than a scream. You're doing the bare minimum. And expecting me to feel grateful. That hit him. His jaw tightened. His shoulders stiffened. He took a breath. Ella, why is this such a big deal? The word sliced through me. Cold. Careless. Cruel without meaning to be cruel. Why is this such a big deal? My birthday. My feelings. My loneliness. My heart. Why is it such a big deal? Because I mattered. And he couldn't see that. Tears spilled down my cheeks. I didn't wipe them away. I was too tired. Too empty. Too defeated to hide anymore. I can't do this tonight, I whispered. I walked past him, brushing his shoulder lightly. Ella, where are you going? Away, I said simply. For once, I'm choosing myself. I didn't wait for his reply. I didn't turn back. Inside the house, I grabbed a small bag, bare necessities. Phone charger. A sweater. A pair of jeans. My hand shook as I zipped it closed, but my heart felt strangely steady. Like it knew this ending was long overdue. Marcus stepped into the doorway as I walked out, his voice breaking. Ella, please talk to me. I've been talking to you for years, I said softly. You just haven't been listening. And with that I walked to my car, opened the door, sat down, and started the engine. The last thing I saw before driving off was Marcus standing barefoot on the porch, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. Looking like a man who finally realized he'd lost something. But far too late. I checked into a quiet hotel across town, alone, leaving Marcus behind with his silence and his consequences. The hotel room was small, quiet, almost painfully clean. White sheets. White walls. A soft hum from the air conditioner. Felt nothing like home. And maybe that was exactly what I needed. I set my bag down and stood there for a long moment, letting the silence wrap around me. For the first time all day, no one needed anything from me. No explanations. No pretending. Just breath. But when I sat on the edge of the bed, the emptiness settled in. The weight of the entire day pressed against my chest. My birthday. My loneliness. My marriage. My life. A tear slid down my cheek before I even realized I was crying. Then another. And another. Until I was sobbing freely, shoulders shaking, breath catching. Eventually, I wiped my face and whispered to myself, "You're here, Ella. You made it through today. You're still standing." Needing something, anything to reclaim the day, I picked up my phone and ordered room service. A slice of cake. Just one. With a single candle. It arrived 10 minutes later. A soft knock on the door. A polite smile from the staff. I placed the plate on the small round table by the window. The candle flickered gently, casting warm, trembling light across the room. I sat down, looked at the candle, and whispered, "Happy birthday." The words echoed back to me, fragile and lonely. As I leaned forward and blew the candle out, I felt something inside me collapse and rebuild at the same time. A year ending. A new one beginning. My phone buzzed. Then buzzed again. And again. Marcus. Call after call. Text after text. First I ignored everything. Then one message came through, simple but heavy. "I understand now. I'm outside your door." My heart jolted. I stood up slowly, feet rooted to the floor. He was here? At the hotel? What was I supposed to feel? Anger? Relief? Fear? Hope? I didn't know. I just knew my heart was beating too fast. The knock came soft, hesitant. My hand hovered over the door handle. I swallowed hard, opened the door, and there he was. Marcus. Eyes swollen, face tired, shoulders trembling. And then, before I could even fully take him in, he dropped to his knees, right there, in the hallway, on the stained hotel carpet. His voice cracked. "Ella, please, please don't shut me out. Not today. Not like this." My breath caught. My vision blurred. My heart twisted painfully, because for the first time in a long time, Marcus looked like a man who finally understood what Ella stood frozen in the hotel hallway, her chest tight, heart a storm of anger, relief, and disbelief. Marcus was on his knees, trembling, eyes red and raw. For years she had felt invisible, unheard, unnoticed. And now here he was finally seeing it all. I don't even know where to start," Marcus whispered, voice breaking. "I've been blind, Ella. Careless. I thought love could survive without attention, but it can't. Not without noticing you. Not without being present. Not without showing up." Ella's hands shook. Part of her wanted to retreat, slam the door, and reclaim her solitude. But she saw something in him, vulnerability, sincerity, a raw honesty she had never seen before. And it made her pause. I need you to know," he continued, voice trembling. "I'm not asking for forgiveness yet. I'm asking for a chance to prove, every day, that I see you, that I hear you, that I love you the way you deserve." Her voice quivered. "Marcus. Love without presence hurts. Love without attention wounds. You've been missing all of me, and I can't just forget that." He nodded, swallowing hard. "I know, and I will spend every day making it right. Not with words but with action. I will notice the little things. I will remember the birthdays, the quiet moments, the days you need me. Even when I'm distracted, I'll be here. Really here." For a long moment silence stretched between them, heavy, tense, fragile, yet filled with a tentative possibility. Then slowly Ella stepped forward. Not fully, not without caution, but enough to let him rise from the floor. Marcus handed her the small gift he had brought for her. A delicate necklace, simple, thoughtful, the kind she actually loved. "I wanted to start small," he said softly. "I want every day to count from now on. Will you let me?" Tears streamed down her cheeks, hot and uncontrolled. This time they were not only from hurt, they were relief, hope, and recognition that he had finally seen her. I'll give you a chance," she whispered. "But you have to keep proving it. Every day. I need to see the change, Marcus. Not just hear it." He nodded fervently. "I will. I promise." The following days. The days that followed were quiet but deliberate. Marcus left little notes around the apartment. "I see you. Thank you for your patience. I'm learning." He remembered small details. Her favorite tea, the way she liked her coffee, the book she was reading. He asked about her feelings instead of assuming he knew. He listened. Truly listened. Ella was cautious. She tested him in small ways, expressing her frustrations and disappointments. And Marcus met her honesty with patience and attention. No defensiveness. No excuses. Just presence. One evening, as the city lights twinkled outside their balcony, Ella finally let herself rest against his shoulder. "I see it, Marcus," she said softly. "I see you trying. And it matters." He squeezed her hand gently. "Every day I'll keep showing you. I'll never take you for granted again. Not now, not ever." For the first time in years, they sat together without tension, without fear, holding space for each other. It wasn't perfect. Healing never is. But it was real. Solid. Gradual. Ella rested her head against him, breathing in the scent of his familiar shirt. She realized that love could survive mistakes, if it came with intention, humility, and effort. And for the first time, she truly believed in the possibility of a future where they both felt seen, heard, and cherished. The first steps had been taken. The rest of the journey would follow, slow, careful, and deliberate, but it was theirs to walk together. He had done, and what he was at risk of losing. Sometimes the love that breaks us becomes the love that rebuilds us. Not because everything magically changes, but because two people finally choose to understand each other. Healing doesn't happen overnight. It takes patience, effort, and a willingness to truly see one another. Today I learned that love can survive mistakes, if both hearts are willing to try again. Thank you for sharing this story with me. If it touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe. And tell me, have you ever had to rebuild trust and love? Share your story below. I'd love to hear from you.